This might not be the best video location. It kind of echoes. At least it's well lit. But we gotta do this video, so I'm gonna use it. Do you like my shirt? I feel like the crux of the evolution debate is the question of purpose. Do we have a purpose or not? And if so, what is our purpose? And how do we search for purpose? Christopher, you asked me, what do I see? I see a lot of people who don't have very fulfilled lives, and I feel like quality of life is a very important thing, and I feel like I've found a lot of ways to have that, and I want to share them with people. So, and one of those things is to have a purpose in life, and another thing is eat a lot of protein. Also, I see light, and I see hope that people can live at peace with each other, even if they decide that they are superior to each other. They can still live at peace to each other, even though they're actually not superior. And maybe the bridges that I try to build to form peace between people who are arguing will be blown down by the wind of stubbornness and self-righteousness. Back to my point, we are a democracy, and that means we need to respect other people. And we've agreed on a sort of moral mandate, social mandate, which we've enacted in the Constitution, which is that the government cannot forbid or persuade people to the practice of any religion or establish a national religion. And so what that implies is in the public school classroom, because the public schools are run by the federal government, and so in a sense are the federal government, they cannot persuade students or dissuade students from following or not following a certain religion. So in terms of religion, in the classroom, teaching should be informative, not prescriptive. But then the question becomes, what constitutes talking about religion? And I think first I want to describe what constitutes science. So science is the way that we obtain knowledge. It's a system for obtaining knowledge. And the idea behind science is that it will be consistent and measurable, and every hypothesis in science will be testable, and that you can do an experiment to verify a certain scientific phenomenon that will prove that it's either true or prove that it's false. And that means it's a testable hypothesis. Now, in philosophy, there are a lot of hypotheses which in science can't be tested. And so that's why we have philosophy. So then, to distinguish, philosophy is how we establish value, superiority, purpose, meaning, and judgment. And judgment, by judgment I mean something, whether something is good or something is bad. Okay? Now, as scientists, though, going back to science, we must reserve judgment. We cannot, as scientists, make judgment claims. We want to stick to the facts, okay? But philosophically, we need to explore those hypotheses which cannot be tested in order to know the answers to those questions as well. I think we need to define what it means to be rational. According to the dictionary, it's the of or relating to reason, or characterized by reason, something like that. And then reason is like thinking broadly. It's just like sometimes it means talking to someone in order to change their opinion, but in general it's just thinking. So the question is, are we thinking people, or are we not thinking people? Are we rational, or are we irrational? And I think to be irrational at its heart is to intentionally deny evidence. So if there's evidence for evolution, then it would be wrong to just deny that evidence, and that would be irrational. Now, maybe you come to different conclusions from the same evidence, okay, but you cannot just deny the evidence. And then also the same thing goes for evidence of God. And so if you have evidence for God, you can't just irrationally deny that evidence. Now you can come to different conclusions from the same evidence, right? But the question is, how sound is that logic? Anyway, I don't think that the existence of God is a scientific question, and I don't think that the question of purpose is a scientific question. Okay, but I do think that it's totally necessary to explore the question of purpose philosophically, but that it would be inappropriate to discuss it in a public school classroom. Fortunately, we are not in a public school classroom. We are in a stairwell. But the point is, in order to know whether we have purpose, we need to be able to explore philosophy, not just science. Because if you only accept science and you only accept quantitative answers, testable answers, you're never going to know if you have purpose. The crux of the question, did we evolve from animals as humans, is does that make us purposeless? And I think that science can't go that step and say, no, we're not purposeless, or yes, we have a purpose, and it's so-and-so, and such, right? What that purpose is, I think, probably the most important question in life, and it's a very difficult thing to find the answer to, and a lot of people have different opinions on it. And I am only 27, and I'm just a person who lives in a little small town, and I went to college. But anyway, I don't know how valid my opinion is, but I believe that we do have purpose, and that believing in evolution, because I do believe in evolution, doesn't form a barrier to believing that we do have purpose. So that's in a nutshell my point for this video. I want to go further into what that purpose is and how we get to that purpose, but we don't really have time for it today. But that's what I've got today.